Teacher. Today we're going to talk about the economic profile of South Korea. To start, my name is Nayet Manriquez and I'm going to talk about the basic information of South Korea. And to start the Korean conflict started in 1945. This was an ongoing conflict based on the division of Korea between North Korea and South Korea. Both claimed to be the sole legitimate government and the state of all of Korea. So because of that, the official division was in 1948, resulting in the division of the country into Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or North Korea as we know, and the Republic of Korea, or South Korea. Sorry. South Korea is located in East Asia, and its neighbors include Japan to the east, China to the west, and North Korea is across to the northern border. Also, the capital of South Korea, Seoul, is located right next to the border of the two Koreas. So the Korea's total land area is 100,033 kilometers square. And about the population, according to the Korea Statistics Center, the last census was in 2018 and correspond to 51.63 million persons, which increased 210,000 persons, and the number of foreigners was about 1.65 million persons, and the population in Seoul capital area was about 25.71 million persons. This includes Seoul, Incheon, and Gyeonggi. Now, the political organization, we can say that Korea has a pluralistic, democratic, and presidential system. This is about how is elected the president, and the president is elected every 5 years. He chooses his prime minister, and besides, the prime minister can assume the presidential functions. To explain, it's something like the interior minister here in Chile. However, there was a project presented to give the power to the parliamentarians to elect and remove the prime minister, and not to give all the power to the president. So in South Korea, there is about 80% of the parliamentarians are elected directly, and the other members are elected under a proportional representation system. So Korea has a total of 299 parliamentarians. And the most popular parties are Democratic Party, United Future Party, Justice Party, and Minsan Party.
Well, now Valentina Gonzalez here. The economic system. South Korea has a capitalist economic system, which is characterized by having economic costs that are so diverse. We refer to high, middle, and poor class as here in Chile. In South Korea, there are economic groups which are dominated by families. The so-called family conglomerate. Among the market that dominate this conglomerate, we can find supermarkets such as Lotte, entertainment companies, and film companies like the divisional CBS or JTBC, In technology, we can find Samsung, that is controlled by the Lee family. The economic sector, we can find the primary, and this just represented 2% of the GDP and just a 4.9% of the population working it. The most cultivated products are the rice, potatoes, soybean, vegetables, and some fruit. But the production is reducing because many do not qualify for export, and it costs money to issue them. And the secondary sector, it's around the 39% of the annual activities in South Korea, and its main activities are electronic industry. Here we can find Samsung Energy, motor industry. Here we can find Hyundai, or and then we can find naval industry and consumption products. Now we can find the 30 sector, and it represents about the 58.2% of the GDP, and it represents by the financial sector, the commercial distribution, and the music and entertainment industry. The financial sector represents 6.2% of the GDP, and the Bank of South Korea said that it's only increasing compared to the other sector, and it's the most promising sector of the 30 sector. The commercial distribution, it had a grow up in the last year because of the liberalizing of the commercial in South Korea. And then we have the music and entertainment industry that have contributed to 4.28 trillion won to the GDP, and just in the 2018. This because of the K-pop phenomenon. The K-pop related merchandising, the tourism, all related to K-pop have been contributed to the economies.
Hello, my name is Camila Solis, and I'm going to talk about the DGB, DNI, and per capita income. That's the first one. The DGB in the first quarter of 2020, South Korea achieved 11th place in the ranking of quarterly DGB in the world. South Korea's DGB was 328.500 million, but it fell to 3.3 compared to the previous quarter. The GNI of South Korea in 2019 was 743.71 million dollars, a 3.62% increase from 2018. Per capita income, as unofficial data according to the Korean embassy in Chile, South Korea doesn't have PCI as well. They have the gross domestic product per capita. According to Trading Economics, in 2020, the last recorded of DGB per capita was 28,605.70 US dollars in 2019.
Salome Gonzalez here. Hi, I'm going to talk about the economic classification. And according to the Corruption Perception Index and the Human Development Index, South Korea is considered a developed country. These indices that have been chosen are considered important for the economic ranking of a country. First, we have the Corruption Perception Index, which shows that South Korea has 57 points in the past, which means that in 2018, it raised its perceptions of Koreans. However, this sector was improved and now is positioned in the 45th place. The score assigned to South Korea is a mixture because although the perception of corruption is there is always a rise because the population considers the penalties are low and wants more punishments for the corrupt. Then we have the Human Development Index, in which, if we take into account the requirements created by the UN, South Korea is considered a country with a good quality of life. The population has a good income perception, and it's considered a country in which you can emerge with the creation of new businesses. Well, in fact, South Korea is ranked, as we can see in the second graphic, number 5 out of a total of 190 countries in the Doing Business ranking. This ranking measures the ease of doing business in a nation. And since this index measures three important points in a country, we can say South Korea complies with the three of them, which are quality of life, health, and knowledge such as literacy.
Hello again. My name is Camila and Solis. I'm going to talk about integration process trade agreement. South Korea has about 15 free trade agreements, among which are important world powers like the USA, European Union, and China as potential partners, but surprisingly, Chile was the first country to sign a treaty of this type with a nation country. The economic integration of South Korea is due to the opening of foreign trade. Since then, there was an increase in the GDP thanks to its importation and export of goods and services. Today, the signed trade agreement most important countries are the following: South Korea signed with European Union on July 1st in 2011, with USA, United States of America, on March 15 in 2012, and with China on December 12, 2015. About international organization, the global participation in South Korea since 1947, the country has carried out activities as a member of the IOC. In 1991, South Korea started as a member of the UN. In 1996, joining the OECD. Today, South Korea is a member of diverse international organizations such as UNESCO, IMF, APEC, IAEA, ILO, and the WHO. By 2012, South Korea has permanent embassies in around 114 different countries, as well as this country has established diplomatic relations with 190 countries. So South Korea has around 41 cultural centers and over 30 culture and information officers in different countries.
Hi, Salome again. South Korea not only belongs to these organizations, but also others such as the International Cooperation OECD, where the country takes part in programs that are designed to provide support to countries of the lowest resources through the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and the OECD. A little while ago, South Korea joined the worldwide effort for peacekeeping, global economic stabilization, and environmental conservation. Also, in November 2010, South Korea led the G20 summit, confirming its status as one of the countries with the most influence within the organization. This, since 2010, the world was going through a global crisis, but South Korea proved memorable handling of this economic crisis. And finally, among the organization is the Nuclear Security Summit. This is one of the issues that the country must take into account and be constantly alert because in the last decade, South Korea has promoted denuclearization with the aim of world peace. And with this, South Korea troops are in 8 countries to help with another medical care and other activities.